Hello, and welcome to the Tech Partner News podcast, where we talk to leaders in the tech channel across Australia. I'm your host, Ben Moore, and today I'm joined by Kelly Drewett, the co founder, director, and CEO of data and analytics consulting business Exposé. But first, let's hear a message from our sponsor.
Need a Microsoft distributor to help you thrive in the AI era? Data has the proven people, programs, and partnerships to modernize your practice and turn disruption into opportunity. 40 growth-led programs, from onboarding and partnering, capability building and enablement, through to go-to-market campaigns. 60 plus certifications across Azure, AI, security, and Copilot, plus 5 in-house Microsoft certified trainers working directly with you. Their partners say they're like an extension of their team. Make Microsoft work for you. Visit dicadata.com.au/Microsoft.
Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. So let's start with getting to know you and Exposé a little bit. How did Exposé come to be? I believe it's about 9 years old this year. What spurred you and your co-founders to start the company at that time when the conversation around data and analytics was still relatively nascent compared to where it is today?
So, about 10 years ago, I was working for another consulting business in South Australia and saw a need in the market for a purely focused data and analytics consulting business. I went to my employer at the time and said, I've got this idea. And they said, look, we don't think there's a need for it in the market right now. So I said, you probably know the market a bit better than me, but you know what? I'm not going to take no for an answer. So I went and had a chat to some other previous people that I knew in the industry. They went, that's a great idea. Let's give it a shot. Fortunately, it paid off. We went from 5 people in 2016 to over 60 now,
Wow.
and have just previously been acquired last year by a global IT consulting business.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty rapid growth, which is awesome to see, and must be pretty vindicating to be sitting here today.
Oh, 100%.
So you've been in the CEO seat of Exposé for about 7 of those 9 years.
hmm
Was there ever a moment where you sat there and went, "This is something that I don't know if I can overcome"?
Yeah, I think coming out of COVID. COVID for many consulting businesses, and definitely IT as a whole. We were fortunate, right? We had this incredible abundance of work coming in, and we had more work than we knew not what to do with. As we got out of that COVID bubble, we saw that organizations, especially in government, right, we're going, hang on a second, we've spent all this money, we've spent a lot of money, we've done some incredible things, but hang on, we've got to look at budgeting a bit more. And so all of a sudden, we went from having too much work to not enough work.
Mm,
And it's at that point where you need to make decisions around right sizing the business. Which that's sleepless nights, um, and just going, right, we've got this amazing team. Unfortunately, we are going to have to decrease the size because it's what's right for the business and it's what's right for every other person in the organization to allow us to keep functioning and then to grow again once the market has stabilized. So I think that was probably my hardest obstacle to overcome, because everything takes a hit. Culture takes a hit, revenue takes a hit, all of those sorts of things, and yeah. And I think personally and emotionally, all of that sort of impact, you wear it, right?
yeah.
As a CEO who's a mother as well, like I feel a lot of that personally.
How did that kind of change your perspective as a leader to go from this company that was just growth, 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 and then suddenly have to hit this wall? What did you learn about that as in terms of how you lead a business?
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I learnt that I can't wear it all myself. And I think, that's what you sort of do. And I think male or female, we all do it. As a mum, I think I do it more, right? Because expose is my third child. We always joke about that. It is my third child. And so you do wear that a lot. What I learned was, I think it solidified my thought process around the importance of culture, right? And making sure that that is nurtured, and it sort of changes and evolves as need to, in order to make sure that you protect everyone else within the organization.
What does culture mean to you? Because I feel it's one of those things that business leaders have different definitions depending on who they are and what their industry is. So give us a sense of what you mean by culture.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, and certainly how we see it at Expose as a whole, it's what we live, eat, sleep, and breathe. The culture drives everything that we do, and we've got some really strong values. I think from day one at Expose, when we're still building our culture and our brand, it was very important for us to always be transparent, open, and honest, and hold each other accountable. Sometimes telling the truth can be hard, but we learn from it. And we've continued that all the way through. And so you will find that we call ourselves the purple peeps. You'll find that they will call someone out if they're not upholding a value, right? And it's not to be nitpicky or anything, but it's a hang on a sec. I think you just need to rethink. Did you do that right? Like, is that how we act? Um, and I love the fact that we hold each other accountable for that. Even me, right? Sometimes I get pulled up by some of the team, um, and I love that, right? Because everyone should be held accountable, and everyone should be, you know, not told off, but asked to rethink, stop and rethink, so that we can be better people, better consultants.
You've spoken, I think, publicly before about the need for technical IT pros to have soft skills. So I guess first, how would you define soft skills?
hmm Yeah, yeah, I'm a huge advocate for this. In fact, I think universities need to change their computer science degrees, in order to, number one, entice more females into studying computer science, but number two, to give computer science students the ability to understand the soft skills. So, what do I mean by soft skills? The ability to present, to communicate in various forms, to be able to analyze and understand a business need, a business problem. How do we take that business need or business problem, and be able to derive a solution which we can communicate back to stakeholders? They seem like they're easy stuff, right? Easy factors, but a lot of universities don't teach that,
Hmm.
right? And so you could be the most incredible um, developer, for example, technically, but if you can't understand that business problem and you can't articulate that back to a client, whether that's through consulting or whether you have an internal client, for your employer, if you can't do that, you're missing the really important piece. And so we need to be teaching those soft skills. Um, Google nowadays, ChatGPT, you name it, you can find technically how to answer any solution, right? But what you can't Google is how do I engage with a stakeholder who is having a problem and understand what that is, so I can deliver a great outcome.
Why does that technical person need to know that? Because aren't there account managers and salespeople and communications people, and that's kind of their job is to get that information and pass it on to those IT people. Why should the IT technical people need to know this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the IT industry is changing and evolving so rapidly. Years and years ago, I worked for Yahoo, in Australia and New Zealand, and you had a clear, um, delineation between a tech person and, I say a joke, used to sit in the back room, drink mountains of V, because that was me, and sit there and code, right? And then you'd have another person that would go out and understand it, be a product owner, go and speak to the business, etc. Now, why aren't we having technical people that can do both? As consultants, you actually need to. It is so incredibly important for a technical person to understand that business problem instead of having to try and get it relayed back from someone else,
Mm.
right? We're trying to eliminate all of those different possibilities of an error or a miscommunication happening. And it takes a certain individual to be able to have that soft skills and the technical skills. So sometimes it takes us a lot longer to recruit the right people. But wow, it's been our driving success, right? It's the whole reason why we do what we do and why we're so good at it. That's why I'm so proud is to say that each one of my consultants, I'd have absolutely no qualms on putting them on any client site and know that they would represent who we are and how we operate 100%.
It's already a difficult talent marketplace across Australia. So, can that be learned? Is that something you can upskill people at doing? How do you train them up on those soft skills?
Yeah, you can train them up. Not everyone can be a consultant. So someone can be technically brilliant, and even though you could teach them the soft skills, it's the confidence, right, to be able to do that. And some people just don't want to. That's just not who they are. And so, sometimes when we recruit, we take that risk. If they haven't done consulting before, we go, right, we think you could do it. Like we honestly do think you could do it. Let's give it a shot, and we'll support you. And we put you on courses, consulting 101, all of those sorts of things. And fortunately, in most cases, it works out. But there are instances where it doesn't, and that's okay, right? We don't want to put someone in an uncomfortable position where they're not going to grow in the right way.
Let's take a quick pause to hear a message from our sponsor.
There's a lot going on for Microsoft partners right now. Today's pressures, CSP program changes, compliance, security. Tomorrow's challenges, AI disruption, rising customer expectations. It's tough just keeping up, let alone getting ahead. That's where Dicker Data comes in. Australia's #1 Microsoft Cloud, Azure SMB and Copilot distributor. With 45 years experience and 28 local experts who know Microsoft inside out. They help you turn disruption into opportunity. With the right people, growth-led programs and exclusive partnerships. Make Microsoft work for you. Visit dickerdata.com.au/Microsoft.
Just changing tack a little bit, you mentioned you have 2 children in primary school. So that would put them, probably of a similar age to Exposé itself, or at least your time in the leadership seat at Exposé. So
Hmm.
you've probably had this kind of dual learning experience as you've gone along as a CEO and a mother. How do you think those two things have informed each other?
When we started Expose, my daughter was one. And we just demolished our house to build a new house. And so I just did everything at once, everything new at once. And I think the biggest learning is really empathy for me is such a big thing. I want to make sure that everyone is well taken care of and everyone is is loving what they're doing, is learning and growing. Same as my children. I want to make sure they're loving school and they're learning and they're growing. So how do I support that without also coming in and being too forceful around it, right? So it's the same sort of thing is I can't tell my child to go and enjoy learning, just like I can't tell my staff to I want you to go and enjoy that project or that new technology or whatever it is. It's around me taking a step back and going, these people are well equipped to make a decision, whether they're a 10-year-old child or whether they're a seasoned consultant. I know that all I can do is give them whatever I can and let them thrive and just be here to support. That's all my job is, right? Is just to support and make sure that the culture is the best it can be, so that they can thrive.
Mm. And look, I've got a 1.5-year-old, and I've got another one on the way. And
Congratulations.
thank you so much. I guess, do you have any tips for people who are starting a whole lot new all at the same time while trying to be a parent who's there and present, and do all of those things at once?
It's not easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not easy, but wow, what you will learn and your ability to adapt. I think that's the whole thing. You'll take a step back in about, I don't know, three or so years, and you'll go, wow, I accomplished that. What you've learnt means that what you can pass on to your children is worth its weight in gold, right? But yes, it's not going to be easy. You are going to have to juggle a lot. Um, there were times when I felt like I probably wasn't giving enough to my children, especially while we were having, growth pains at Exposé. I'm just really fortunate that I have an incredible husband who supports me 150%, as well as my family do. So my daughter will be 11 this year, and she was a junior consultant for Exposé for a day. So I said, right, come in. You have to do as you're told. So listen to everyone else, not me, because you'll do what they say. But the reason we do that, and we have other children come in as well, is to give them an opportunity just to experience what we do. And I think that's invaluable, right? Because they might go, I don't want to ever do it, but it also gives them that ability to see all the different ways that IT's changing, and that they can do whatever they want to do and be whoever they want to be. And I think that's what we should be giving back to future generations. So to your children, to my children, is that ability to know that they can do whatever they want to in Australia, or New Zealand, but give them all the opportunities, and that's what we're building, right?
Thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate your time and insight. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me, Ben. It's been great chatting.
And thank you to all the listeners out there as well. To make sure you don't miss an episode, subscribe wherever you listen. And if there's someone's story you'd like to hear, let us know in an email to editors@techpartner.news. For more news from and for the Australian Technology Channel, head over to techpartner.news. I've been Ben Moore.